Hello, hello, hello. Okay, it's Monday night. Good evening, or good afternoon, good morning to you, wherever you are in the world. And I'm really looking forward to tonight's talk. And I know I've got Spirit with me already, which is hysterical. They always come in and make my nose itch. But I've had lots of technical issues because my printer decided, brand new printer decided it didn't want to work. So I'm just sitting here trying to calm myself. So say hello, let me know that you're there. And I've got a few things that I want to talk about, which is, well, I hope they're interesting. And I hope that you'll find them interesting. But remember, names for healing, and any questions, please pop them on the screen and I will do my best to answer them. I'm sitting very uncomfortably and I don't know why, but anyway, okay. So let me know, say hello. And do you know what I was thinking today? Because when I first started doing the lives, I used to play music to introduce me to, or to introduce the talk to. And then I used to play out with a healing song, Heal the World. And I can't do any of those anymore because Facebook, I've decided that is not good. Hello, Rob. How lovely to see you on here. But anyway, what was I going to talk about? Oh, and the technology doesn't want to work. So I've got actually the words that I'm referring to are on my phone because I couldn't print them out in big print. I just hate it. I just hate it. Anyway. I've had an amazing few days. So last week I looked after 3 little ones for 2 full days and a little bit of a day, and it's, you forget, I've had children of my own and I know what it's like to have kids, and I'd forgotten how much energy they take. But when you're younger, you've got all the energy. But at the end, when mum and dad came to take them off my hands, I went home and just literally fell apart. Hello, Vanessa. Hi, Roger. Lovely to see you all. Let me know. I can see there's a couple more people on there. Let me know who you are. Say hello, please, because I love to know who's watching and where you're watching from. So yeah, so 3 days with, or 2 and a bit days with the girls, which was gorgeous. I loved it, but it was tiring. And then I went up to the Central Coast, but I went to Lake Macquarie first, which was an hour further north, and did a house party, which was really lovely. And it was funny because the girls had said that were there, let's have a break halfway. And I went, yeah, okay, we can do that. And we forgot. So we just carried on. And before we know it, we got through everybody. Hello, Lisa. We got through everybody and it was over and done with. But it was really fantastic because there was lots of tears, there was lots of laughter, there was lots of, I didn't realize, that you could come up with that sort of thing. But it is so touching and emotional and really lovely that your loved ones can still be around you, us, them, whoever. Karen, hello. So on the Sunday, then I went to the Central Coast, and I went to the Central Coast Spiritual Church Stroke Group. Now, I've got to say it properly because you'll get confused with another of the churches up there. But this church has been going for nearly a year. It's their first anniversary on the 24th of March. And do you know what? They are one of the nicest churches. I've got 2 more churches that I would say are the nicest, but I'm going to talk about them. So they're one of the nicest churches that I go to. And what I think, that's my computer talking to me. What I think is really lovely about this particular church is they've got 5 people that run it, and there's Cheryl, Christine, Karen, Margaret, Kathy, and Nancy. And they are full of love, full of joy, full of happiness. They greet everybody with a big smile when they come in the door. Everybody gets greeted personally, and everybody gets spoken to as they come in. And for me, it was just really wonderful to watch. Now, I've been to the church. This was my 3rd visit, and I'm going back again this year. But there were 72 people there. Now, I haven't seen numbers like that at a spiritual church since the 90s when I first started in the UK. And we used to have 70 people every week. The last time I went back to that church, which is really sad, there were about, I don't know, 16 people, if that, there. And the energy was just really flat. But and that's just reminded me, actually, because all the old people that couldn't hear used to sit in the back row. And then when you were talking to them and trying to give them a message, it was, what, dear? What did you say? But if you go to any church, the deaf people, the old deaf people, sit in the back row, which is hysterical. Anyway, it was lovely. It was a lovely era for me. So to go to this church on Sunday, and when I got there, there were about 45 people there. Oh, hey, Luke and Lisa, and oh, you're watching with the kids, Charlie and Matilda. Hello, Charlie and Matilda. Lovely to see. I hope you're up in the new house, or if not, you will be. That's exciting. But anyway, lovely to speak to you both, kids. Nice to speak to you. I've seen lots of pictures of you. Okay, so there were about 50 people that were there when I first got there. And then I saw all these cars arriving as I arrived, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. And it was coming and coming and coming and coming. 72 people. But it was really lovely, because I think what is also a good recipe that they have is they don't criticize anybody or criticize themselves when they make a mistake. It's, oh, we've made a mistake, ha ha ha, wasn't that funny? Whereas other churches that I've worked at, it is so serious, and you have to do it their way, and it's, you know, it's very, very strict. And I used to run my own church many years ago in Wangaratta. It's now still going, but you know, we used to have mishaps, and I just used to laugh all the way through it. So, and that's what this is about. This is about remembering that we are human. We all die. That's a human element. We can't help that. But I talked about, I'm just looking to see where I am on my list here. So I talked about, at the church, I talked about time. I don't know why time came to me, but I actually said to everybody, I said, isn't it funny that when we're at school, time is, it's almost like it stands still. When we're at school, the school holidays take forever to go. And now it's like, because we're older, I'm 69, and we rush into death's door. And it just seems, I mean, we're already in March, for goodness sake, we're already in March. Where has that time gone? And, you know, it just seems it only seemed, what is it, 10, 11, 12, 13 years since I first came to Australia. And it seems like yesterday. I just can't believe the way things go. Let me know. And don't forget, names for healing are important. And if you've got any questions, please let me know. Thank you, Vanessa. Considering how I'm feeling today, I'll talk about that in a second. That makes me feel really good. So, yeah, so the I'm going to go back to the church. The warmth, the friendliness, the love, and the ease with which they did everything, for me, was incredible to watch. And you know, when we were singing the songs, they were all the committee at the back. I call them the committee, but the people who run it. And they were all dancing, and they were all, it was just hilarious. You know, people in the audience didn't see them until the chairperson, who was also a committee member, started doing the dancing as well. And it just made me feel full of love and full of joy. So that for me was an absolute blessing. So we talked about time, and you know, why do we spend time with people that we don't like? So why do we spend time thinking that we can put things right with family? Family are the worst, because we always fall out with family. I've talked to so many people in the last couple of days, and you know, everybody says, oh yeah, I had a fallout with them and I have to put it right, and then I have to pussyfoot around and be careful what I say to them. Do loved ones come through whilst you're talking? Not today. So the third Monday of the month, I do live readings. So you missed that. That was last week. But I do a whole show of just live readings. So watch out for that, Lisa. And second time there yesterday. Kylie, oh yes, you did come up and say hello to me, and I friended you today, and it was your second time, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's one of the nicest churches that I think I've ever been to. Rob has just asked, what are your thoughts about what time actually is. For example, it's Gregorian, no time as it's all now, or perhaps some other idea. You know, time is a funny thing, because when I think of the spirit world, people say, oh, you're talking to the spirits. Well, you're not talking to the spirits, because they're not up there. They're around us all the time. And what actually happens, hello, Kanga, what actually happens is that the spirit world, they exist on a different dimension. And if I get any of this wrong, I'm sorry. And you can always go and look up, and then you can criticize me if you want afterwards. But I'm human and I make mistakes as well. And I don't have all the answers, but I have enough answers to be able to get me through. So we are in this room, for instance. Now, this room to me looks like just me in this room with my sewing machines and my computer and my tailor's dummy, Ethel, behind me. But we have got many, many, many levels in this room. And in those levels live the spirit world. So I can talk to spirit people whenever I want to, because I just ask them to step in. I'll talk about that in a second. You blend with them, you ask them to step in, and then but I don't know about the concept of time. As I said, the older we get, the quicker time is going. Now, is that a just an older person's thought, or is it that time has always gone quickly and we didn't see it when we were children? I don't know. I really don't know. And as far as Gregorian is concerned, I don't know enough about that, Rob, so I wouldn't talk to you. You and I need to have a conversation about that, so I will hold you to that one. Sending healing to Cassie, most definitely. And don't forget, everybody, my healing book, if you send me the names for people that have a need for healing, I will put them in my book, most definitely. I hope she's well, Kanga, and I will send that love. And I'm loving seeing the pictures of your lovely boy going to school and getting on with all the things that he's doing, and he's grown into an absolutely gorgeous young man, that's for sure. So we don't have time. I'm going to go back to this. We don't have time to waste on disruptive situations, including family. You know, we come together in this world as a group soul, and I've talked about this before, and we are sent in that group soul, those group of souls come together, and we're all learning lessons. And when we come this time round, you know, my mum is my mum, and in a previous lifetime we've come together. She might have been my enemy, she might have been my father, she might have been my sister, I don't know. But we have to make sure that every day we spend in our lives being the best person that we can be, and doing the best that we can do, and being the best version of ourselves that we can be, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. So if tomorrow doesn't come and we end up going over to the spirit world, we're going to get over there. You know, they talk about the pearly gates. We're going to get over there, and they're going to say to us, well, this was the things that you had to do. Have you actually done it? Maybe, no, definitely. Go back and do this again. Would you want to come back and do this life again? Because I certainly do not. Apart from all the beautiful people I've met, I certainly do not. But anyway, so we have to make sure that we live our lives to the fullest while we're here. Because again, I'm going to repeat, we do not have tomorrow guaranteed. And when I look at the number of people that are younger than me that have passed, and I just find it absolutely amazing. One of my lovely friends, Dougie, passed a couple of weeks ago, and he made me laugh. I think I talked about this last week, and I went to visit him, and he said, I don't know what you're so worried about coming to visit me for in Spain. He said, because you'll still be able to talk to me when I'm dead. Well, it's his birthday 2 days ago, actually, and I put a message on his Facebook page, and his daughter said, has Dad been around? And I said, of course he has. You know, why would he miss an opportunity to come and talk when he has the opportunity to come and talk? Anyway, so time is too valuable. Hello, Mel. Hello, H. Wright Denton, and who did I say? Natty Cat. Oh my gosh, yes, you're a star. I'll talk about our stuff in a minute, Nat. But we have got to make sure that we value our time, value the people that are in our lives. And if it's difficult, I'm going to try not to get disrupted for a minute, because I want to talk, I want to get this out. But if a situation is disruptive, walk away from it, because it is not valuable to you to stay within that disruptive situation, because you're just wasting valuable time. Now, you've got to go out into this world and put your energies into something better instead of negativity. So explore, be brave, spread your wings. I did that when I was 54 and I came to Australia, and everybody around me went, "What are you doing?" And I never forget, I used to go to the local pub in Red Hill, which is where I met my lovely friend Dougie, who I was just talking about. And there was a young man there, Adam, and he was the same age as one of my sons. And he said to me, months and months and months, it might have been years actually, after I'd started coming to Australia. And then I got to stay, but I went home to visit. And he said, "We used to watch you and listen to your stories about trips, your trips to Australia and the things you were doing and your visa and da 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 da." And he said, "We were all talking behind your back saying, she's talking through her yes, and it's never going to happen." And he said, "Egg is on our face and not yours." And I was so determined that Spirit had directed me that I needed to be in Australia. So I was very brave, stupid, but brave. And I actually made that decision. Well, if Spirit wants me to do this, I'm going to do it. So I didn't let them do it all for me, because I put an awful lot of that into practice for myself. I worked really hard to make these things happen. So we have to be brave, we have to be strong, and we have to go out and spread our wings. So Therese is on here, Angela, Cameron, Kylie. You mentioned yesterday we actually don't find our purpose till we've passed. That's right, because we're searching for it all the time that we're here. And yet, you know what? If we actually just went, "Let me live, let me breathe, let me do, let me be," and then be and do the best that you can, then when you get over the other side, you will have done what you were meant to do. Now, that sounds so simple. And I think life is so simple. Hello, Eva, and Mandy. And I think we just try and overcomplicate things. I know I've done that in my life. And why doesn't this happen? And maybe I'm doing this wrong, and maybe I'm doing that wrong. But I know that when you actually discard things, it's like being in a disruptive marriage. I've been married twice. And I really tried. I really tried. I really tried. And in the end, I thought, I'm just wasting my time, because I'm actually not getting anywhere. I'm feeling miserable and unhappy, and miserable and unhappy is probably the wrong word for it, because I was so bad. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to step away from this. And do you know what? I've grown so much as a person. And for me, that's great. For me, that's wonderful. And I look at everybody around me, and I think I've now got people around me who I want to be around me. And I think that is very, very important. Okay, so we've got Rob. Oh, you enjoyed Mardi Gras. Brilliant. Gail is on here. Fantastic. Linda, Redez. Oh, look at that. Do you know what? I've been getting this. If I do this, I don't know if it'll happen. Yes, look at that. I don't know why that happens, but I just discovered it the other day. It's pretty magical. So can I put Andrew in your healing book? Absolutely, I will. Peter Renshaw. Gosh, that's a name from the past. Oh, thank you, Peter. We started off, I'm sure we were both ordained at the same time. I can't remember whether that's true, but that sort of rings a bell in my head. And Gail's having trouble with her coverage. You can always go back and watch it again. And you made it on TV, Robert. Yay, you got famous. That is brilliant. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let me go back to my notes. So be brave, explore, and try to be the best you can. And if being the best you can with Now, let me explain that again. If the people around you are not allowing you to be the best you can, then walk away. That's very hard. I know I found it extremely hard to walk away from people, but I just think to myself, you know, I'm too old to do this anymore. So I'm not doing it. So why waste time on negative situations or people? It was lovely actually, because after the talk that I did yesterday, I can't believe it was only yesterday. It feels like forever ago, because I've done big drives in between, and I came home this morning, so I'm feeling a little bit bleh. But anyway, after the talk I did, a couple of people came up and thanked me, and it was absolutely gorgeous, because one lady, she was so emotional. I've just talked to her about this letting go of family, and she said, oh my goodness me, she said, that talk that you just gave has just given me permission to do exactly that, to walk away from the people I don't need in my life that are causing me such anguish. And she just grabbed hold of me, and she was just so grateful and so thankful. But she said I'd given her permission to do that. But you know, I get my information from the spirit world, and I'm also sharing, you know, things that have happened to me. I gave myself permission to walk away from those difficult situations because they were just awful. So listen to what I'm saying. It's not always possible and it's not always easy, but try to do the best you can to make your life the best you can for you, because we only got one chance at this life and we've got to make sure that we do it properly. So I'm hoping that you listen. Okay, so don't forget your names for healing and questions. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this one. Hello, Dipesh. Um, Sometimes when you do a reading for somebody, the reading doesn't get accepted, and it is really, really frustrating. I know. Good. You give yourself permission to shine. I'm absolutely thrilled about that. I'm going to call you H, because we all need to give ourselves permission to shine. You know, I'm thinking about when I was a mum. I still am a mum, but when I was a mum, I always gave my family the permission to shine over me, and I didn't actually shine until way after, you know, my marriages and my kids had all grown up, and I look at what I'm doing now and think, well, if I bring some light into one person's life, and that's what you need to look at. If you bring light into one person's life, you've actually done a great job. And that's all you have to be grateful for. Just do one thing, and maybe do one thing every day that makes you feel good, but makes somebody else feel good as well. I love when I see beautiful young ladies, because when I was a youngster, so a teenager, I was so, oh gosh, I thought I was ugly. I thought I was horrible. I thought, for various reasons, I did think that. And I look back now and I think, I wish somebody had told me that I wasn't. So I see, you know, young girls on a train or a bus or in a, you know, whatever. And I say, gosh, you look so gorgeous today. And they look at you as if you've got three heads, you know, but I need to say that. And I think it's important. So spread some love and light and joy, and just do, you know, do nice things. And if you can't say it, just send that thought out to people, because that works as well. So yes, I will, Eva, I will put you all on the healing list, most definitely. So let me talk about readings that don't get accepted. They really frustrate me, because I know that I'm right. I always know that I'm right, because yes, Kylie, agree, being the light, yes. So when I give my information from the spirit world, if I've got it wrong, it's because I've misinterpreted something. But I know the gist of the reading is right. And so the first reading that came through, we were singing the song yesterday, and all of a sudden I was drawn behind me, and on the door there was a lock, you know, a key lock. And I just laughed and smiled, and then I started giggling, and I'm supposed to be singing and being all nice and spiritual and whatever. Anyway, there was a guy that was with me, and I said, oh, you a locksmith? And he went, yeah, sometimes. He said, but I used to steal things. I was a burglar as well. I used to break into things. I thought, oh gosh, this is going to be hilarious. Anyway, This man, I gave him, I said, he's an uncle. I gave so much information, which he was giving me. He was cheeky, he was fun, he was happy, but he, aired on the wrong side of the law sometimes. Nobody took him. I said, there's a police car chasing him. Nobody took him. Okay. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to let him step aside. I said, it's really sad because somebody in this room knows him. And because I knew I was right. Anyway, we let him go, and then I carried on and did all the other readings. I can't remember how many I did, but it was an awful lot. But I know that, and I need to remember to say this every time, is that when you do readings for people, you need to say that you don't intend to embarrass anybody, or you're not going to show anybody up or anything like that. You need to just openly say that. Anyway, later in the day, there was a lady that was talking to me, and she said very sheepishly, I've actually got to put my hand up to that chap. And she said he was a relative and he wasn't an uncle. I said, oh, but he told me he was uncle. She said, that's what we used to call him. And she said, everything that you gave was right, but I was just too embarrassed to put my hand up. And I said, well, that's such a shame, because that would have brought so much fun and laughter and joy for the first reading. So anyway, please, if you do have somebody, don't be embarrassed to put your hand up, because that is not what this is about. This is bringing through people who are in the spirit world that want to go and say hello. And it's very, very important. So hello, Kat from Niagara Falls in Canada. Oh my goodness me, I instantly get a picture of Superman for some reason or other. Anyway, Kat, lovely to talk to you. And Ian, yes, when you get knocked back as a youngster, you do believe it. You can't believe anything other than that. So and I'm glad you said that. Rod, yep, I'll put them in the book, most definitely. And Gail, you've got coverage. Yay, good. So the other thing is that when you get somebody in the audience who goes, yep, I can take all of that information, and you give a bit more, yep, give a bit more, yep. And then they say, but the only thing is that person's still alive. How I resisted doing that yesterday, I've got no idea. And I thought, oh, I've got to be careful. I nearly said something. And it's really hard sometimes, because you think, oh, for goodness sake. Leanne, beautiful to see you from Melbourne. I'm coming in April. Maria Kearney. Healing for Tim Lancaster. Absolutely. I'll make sure that goes in the book, Maria. Lovely to see all your gorgeous photographs with the princesses. They were beautiful. Okay, so when you're sitting in an audience for a mediumship demonstration, you need to ask yourself, why are you sitting there? Because you know that the person that is the Cat Superman, I love it, love it, love it. Cat, is really lovely to have you on here. Okay, and we're not doing readings today. It's the third Monday of the month where I do readings. So please come back, because that would be really great. As I said, how I bit my tongue and didn't say anything, I don't know. But when you go to a demonstration of mediumship, you are going to talk to your people who have passed into the spirit world. That means they are dead. They are not here in the physical. They are in the spirit. Okay, so when you get somebody that says, I can take all of that, but they're still alive, oh my gosh, you think, oh dear. So anyway, I won't say any more on that. But if you go to a spiritual church or a spiritual demonstration, remember, we are talking to dead people. And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm just being honest, because there's no other way of saying it. You know, they're people who have passed over. They've still got personalities. They've still got senses of humor, and they still want to be talked about, and they still want to be talked to, and they still love you, and they still want to show that, which is really, really good. Well, I hope you come back, Kat. That's all I can say. That's really lovely that you're on here. So, which there is also so much emotion. And one of the readings that I was giving It was really lovely, and it was a daughter that came through from mum, and there just happened to be three daughters that came through for mums. And it's funny, sometimes I know where I'm going, and sometimes I don't. I think I explained the other week I did a demonstration at Brett's church, Newtown, spiritual church, and I think of the 8 readings I did, half of them were I'm going to you, and the other half were I threw it out. But yesterday I threw it all out. And that was okay, because there was enough evidence to find my recipient, which is the important thing. So when you make your commit, so I made my connection to this young girl, and I was trying to bring her through, and all of a sudden, now a lot of you know that I have issues with my voice, and suddenly it'll just go and I cough and I can't stop coughing. Yesterday, my voice was taken away from me completely. I just could not talk. And eventually I said, I can't talk. And she can't talk. She doesn't want to speak. She doesn't want to say what she's got to, or what, yeah, she doesn't want to speak. And that was a bit sad for the mum, because the mum wanted to listen to her. But there was obviously some other stuff going on. So I had to respect the daughter's wishes, and not bring her, or not continue talking. Right. Okay. You're never shy for them, Kat. I'll remember. But remember that sometimes the spirit world, they come to say hello, but they don't then want to say anything else. So we have to respect that as well. Okay. I'm finding this difficult reading from my phone, my notes, instead of from a piece of paper. But anyway, I'll throw the printer out when I finish here. So you make a connection, and I think I talked roughly about this last week, but you make a connection to spirit. And how do you make that connection? What's that all about? Well, I basically ask the spirit, I blend my energies with the spirit world. I blend my energies with my audience, and I allow my energy. I I pictured this the other day with people. And I said, imagine that connected to your auric energy field is a bicycle pump. And there's somebody from the spirit world pumping it up and making it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and filling this room. I actually told the house party this, and I said afterwards, when they'd finished, I said, now what you've done is you've linked all of your energies, so it'll make it easier for the spirit world to come through. And they all just looked at one another and said, oh, that's amazing. Anyway, it was really good, and the energy was really powerful. And I did, I think it was 2.5 hours of beautiful connections to their loved ones. So how do you keep that energy going? So sometimes you feel your energy going flat, and that could be because the audience energy is not good, or the recipient you're talking to is not good, or you are tired, or whatever the reason. And then you just have to say, just give me a second. I saw one of my students do this. Just give me a second, and let me build my energy back up. And the people who you're working with do not mind you doing that. So any of you that are mediums out there, just remember to take that time to build your energies. And it's funny because I remember in the UK when, 35 minutes gone already. There's time just disappearing. It's gone in a flash. But in the UK, I used to get stuck on the M25, which is the big circular road that goes around London. And I used to do all the churches that were dotted around London. And the traffic would be at a standstill. And it didn't matter how much time you allowed yourself, you always end up late. And I used to allow 3 hours sometimes, but, and sometimes it was not quite that because I was working. And I'd get to the church and they'd be waiting for me, and I'd run up on platform, and the chairperson would be talking, and I'd just go, okay, spirit, just open me up, please. And I would do it as quickly as that, and spirit would not let me down. They always worked with me, which was really good. But if your energies go down, you just build them back up again. Very important. Kat says she's never shy to get a reading, and she has a question, if it's okay. My best friend passed in October. I've had communication twice, but oddly, he has only come through for one specific medium. No one else can pick him up. And when they try, my late fiance pops in instead. Would you know why he's chosen that one reader, or why why any spirit may do this. There's lots of actual readings there. I think I've talked about the men that slapped my backside from the spirit world, I might add. And the three sitters that I had that were there for the reading said they had an eye for a pretty lady. They liked blonde women. And I can't remember what the third one was, but you know, that they are drawn to you. They are drawn to your energies. So, and I can understand that. It's like when you make friends of certain types of people. Yeah, certain energies. I remember employing people to work for me with a business that I had in London, and I went and had a look at all their birth dates, and their birth dates were all around mine. And I thought, oh, that's a bit strange. And the odd few were, because I'm an Aquarian, and the odd few were Gemini, and there was only one out of sync. But the rest of them, and there are 26 of them, and their birthdays were all around mine. Now, is that coincidence, or is that I'm gelling with their energies? And I think it's more to do with the gelling of their energies. Anyway, okay, what else have I got on my little list here? Oh yeah, I connected to I said, I've got a man here. He tells me my wife's in the audience, and there were three people who put their hand up, and I suddenly looked at the three women, and I went, "I'm drawn to you." And the lady, she told me afterwards he'd only passed 2 years ago, and I said that he's laughing here and telling me that he was quite capable. He liked to dance, yes, and he was being really funny and cheeky and so like. She said, so like he was when he was physically here. And he's telling me that he didn't play golf because he didn't understand why you hit a little ball around with a stick. And I laughed because I said, that's what I think. And she said, that's exactly what he did think. And I said that he didn't play sport. And she went, well, that's wrong. But what I done is I got that wrong, and I understand that. So a no makes me work harder. And I went back and I asked him, and he said, I didn't play the sport when I was older. And that was right. So we have to look at the no's. Why have we got a no? What have we done wrong? And what have we misinterpreted with the spirit world? And then I look at things that happen around me, and I've got a beautiful little bracelet that my granddaughter made me, and she's got an N for nanny on it, which is brilliant. But I kept being drawn to this N on the bracelet. There, you can see. Oh, I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, it's there. And all of a sudden, N Nancy. And I'm going, I've got a Nancy. And there was a lady at the back and put her hand up. And I said, I want to say auntie. And she said, yes, I've got an auntie Nancy. But she kept saying, but I'm Nancy. And I didn't quite understand what she was saying. Anyway, she had an auntie Nancy, and her name was Nancy as well. So anyway, we got a bit confused over that, but we got there. And I said about fine stitching. She did tapestry. I said, I'm seeing one hanging on the wall. But she said, you were shown how to do this, and yours are hanging on the wall. And it was just beautiful because there were such lovely memories. And she said that she was, a favorite, and she enjoyed spending time with her and sharing. But what I said to the audience earlier was, it's the little things that mean the most. You don't have to give anything magnanimous or, huge. You just give little things that are shared memories with that person. Like saying to the lady whose husband had passed, he didn't like golf, and that was the reason why. Yeah, and she laughed. She thought it was funny. But there was a lot of other things in her reading as well, which were very meaningful. But it is the simple things. You don't have to give great big massive blown, anyway. So yeah, I'm just trying to explain to you what we do and what we don't do. So Spirit will show you their information in different ways. As I've said, I got drawn to the lock behind me. The other day working on Brett's church, I got drawn to Edith Ethel behind me. And this was my grandmother's name. She was a tailoress. The man I was connecting to in the audience online was his grandmother called Ethel, and she was a seamstress. So that's what I love, the way Spirit use things around you to help you. So if you're working as a medium, pay attention to those things. And if you're actually in an audience and you're watching people, don't think that they're making it up, because they're not. Spirit are really, really trying to help us, to be the best we can and to do the best we can, and they can only do that by making it easy for us. So they work with us in a way that is so simple. But the connection to spirit is so simple, and we try to overcomplicate it, I think. And it isn't complicated at all. And I was talking about the blending, and I know I've talked about this before. I'm just trying to find my picture. I was trying to find a way earlier on of being able to share a screen, but on this StreamYard, I can only do it with another screen, and I don't have that. But when we ask the spirit world to draw close to us, so I need to show you this and see if you can see it. Right, my beautiful peanut drawing. So this is us, and this is, I can't draw to save my life, but anyway, I'm not going to make excuses. So this is us with our auric energy field, and then this is the spirit person with their auric energy field. And when we ask them to blend with us, we ask them to draw forward, and then we have that little bit in the middle, which is where we get the communication and the connection. It's that simple. And that's a blending. Over the years, I've heard you blend with spirit. I'm trying to think of the different words, but there's all sorts of different words. But it is simple as just asking them to step forward and work with me. Just talk to me. And then we pick up the information, as in clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. That is, are they speaking to me? Can I see them? Can I feel them? Can I hear them? But is it I'm physically hearing, seeing, or feeling, or is it something that's just a knowing? So it's in my third eye. I just know that I can hear a voice. I know that I can feel them. I know that I can sense them. Whichever way you do it is brilliant, because just being able to speak to spirit is brilliant. Some people disagree with that. They still think it's, should be a bit in the dark ages, which I think is a bit silly, because I believe that this is the most amazing thing in the world to do. And when you see a recipient's face, when you've brought through a loved one, it is incredible. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Kat says, when her fiance passed away, they kept showing me a cat, and now he's a cat now, or he's mentioning a cat. Did you have one, or are you getting one? No, because I'm not connecting with him. Okay. Hello, Vale Giltner. And yeah, inviting spirit into self works for you. Good. It is that simple. I remember doing a workshop with you, Rob, and you were very, very good. I hope you're still working on that and with that. Okay, I'm running out of time. And I wrote so many things down I wanted to talk about, but as is always with me, I digress. And then I get thrown by questions and whatever. But don't forget, names for healing and any other questions, please. I'll try my best. So I was talking about, you watch your mannerisms. Sometimes I'm sitting there doing this and I'm thinking, ouch, my hands hurt. So I've got somebody that's got arthritis, or I've got a digit missing, or I've also got long hair, or I had short hair, because all of a sudden I can feel my hair up here. Oh, yes. Okay. Responding. Yeah. Okay. I can see what you're talking about, Kat. Sorry. But we pay attention to the things that are going on around us. We watch the things in the audience. I remember working with my lovely friend Dave, who's passed about 4 or 5 years now, which is so sad, because he was a brilliant medium. And we were working in a hall, and they had spotlights on the ceiling. And I'm sitting there thinking, spotlights, I'm on the stage. Okay. And I had a lady who was an actress and worked on the stage all the time. And then I think it might have been the same den with him. All of a sudden, I had my legs crossed, and I'm moving my foot up and down. And all of a sudden, my foot wasn't there. And I had somebody who had a foot amputated. So it's just simple. They show you and you have to pay attention. So your loved ones are around you all the time, and they're trying to let you know that they're around you all the time. So don't waste time trying to see, picture, whatever. Just know that if you see something out of the corner of your eye, for instance, just acknowledge them. Say, okay, I know you're there, because they only want you to acknowledge them. Once you acknowledge them, they know you're not frightened, and they'll know that they can come again, and they can step in a little bit closer, and then a little bit closer, and then a little bit closer. So give them permission to to step forward and communicate with you in the way that they know will be comfortable for you. Gail, absolutely. Rosemary in South Australia, I will put her on the list. Melanie, we're not doing readings tonight. That's the third Monday of the month. So come back and I will do the readings. So I had a couple of books I wanted to go through as well. And before I do, I wanted to just talk about there is always room for growth and improvement. And as far as mediumship is concerned, you know, I've been doing this for 34 years. I can't believe it's 34 years, but there's always room for growth. There was always room for improvement. There's always a better way of doing something. And I love it because Spirit will, you know, they'll work with me one way this week, and then next week they'll do it completely different. And then the next week they'll jumble it all up. And then the next week I'm doing something completely different. I'll get a week of doing names. I'll get a week of doing where they came from. And it is just incredible. So you have to stretch yourself. And I said about going out into the world and explore and be brave and, you know, courageous and do different things. Do it with your mediumship as well. So know that the spirit world are going to work with you as well as they can. And the formula that I work with is CERT, which is CERT, communicator, evidence, reason for coming, and tying up. I was taught at the Arthur Findlay College in the UK, and that was the formula that I was taught by. And if you follow that formula, you will always, always, always get the recipient. Now, I've seen mediums who go, oh, I've been shown a picture of lots of trees and a river, and it's, you know, a bit flowy, and then they go into something psychic. Well, that's not what mediumship is about. Mediumship is connecting with a loved one. So I want to know that I've got a gentleman who's thinning on top, loved the outdoors. I'm seeing him with a fishing rod in his hand, and I know that he had issues with his breathing, because I'm feeling the issues with his breathing. There's my thumbs up again. And then when, you know, if I can give a name, I got the name George, for instance, and I want to say that he would always wear the lace-up shoes, not slip-on shoes, but always lace-up shoes. This is connecting to somebody that's on here, by the way. And then once somebody then puts their hand up, then I can go into the message, because once you've got your person identified, why do we need more evidence? You've already said, yes, that's him, or yes, that's my mum, or whatever. So once you've got that, then the message is so important, because we're sitting there and we've gone to the church, for instance, or a mediumship dem. Why? Because you want a message. Why do you want a message? Because you're in need, you're missing somebody, it's coming up to their anniversary, it's your birthday, you want to know that they're around. I've got some big decisions to make, and I want to know that my dad can guide me and help me. So that's why we go, and that's why they come. So once you've identified your recipient, then you go into the message of love and why they're there, and the memories that they bring through as well. You know, they're reminding me of, and that will be relevant to you right at this minute. And then so that's the reason for coming. So the C and the E is communicator, and the evidence to prove that communicator. Then the reason for coming is the message. The tying up is thank you, I love you, Thank you for the kiss on my cheek. I did that the other day and the woman just burst into tears. She said nobody else knows that. So the kiss on the cheek, we put things right before I went, you know, those sorts of things. And those are really, really important. So so Sarah said her mum passed away unexpectedly and you've been having dreams. Absolutely, they're messages from her. You know, when we go to sleep at nighttime, our physical body sleeps, but our spirit doesn't. And we're in the spirit world with the people we need to be with. And I think that is the most wonderful thing. So embrace that. And when you go to sleep at nighttime, just ask your loved ones to be with you. I must point out though, I had spirit when I first started. I had spirit with me all the time, and I'd wake up in the morning, oh my gosh, felt like I'd run a marathon all night. So I told somebody at church and they said, okay, so what you need to do is to say, morning, Neil. You need to say to the spirit world, I don't care what you do with me tonight, but let me wake up refreshed, please, because they take us into the spirit world and they're showing us and they're teaching us and they're guiding us and helping us. So that can be like running a marathon. So the spirit world is a big, vast place. So we have to put boundaries like we do for people. We put boundaries down as far as the spirit world is concerned. So remember, when you dream of people that have passed, you are actually with them, which I think is just absolutely beautiful. So I've got time quickly to go through a few books. Don't forget the names for healing. You know, it's really funny. I have this book in my library, and I sorted all my books out the other day. And do you think I could find this? I took my bookcase apart and I looked at every one. I couldn't find it. And that's been about 2 weeks that I couldn't find this book. And then all of a sudden, today, I found it. Battling Bertha. Now, I want to read you what it says on the back of this. I'm going to read it. I haven't read it yet. And it was recommended by my lovely friend, Maria Christina, who has read a lot of books, as I have, but I haven't read this one. So I wanted to get it. But when I read the back of this, it said Bertha Harris is one of the most famous figures in the controversial field of modern occultism. She is a spiritualist medium and as such has conducted investigations into the thorny fields of spirit photography, the materializations of entities who, as far as this world is concerned, have died. And then there's lots and lots of, she's worked with lots of famous people, and she delved into the very, very early things. You know, must have been really hard in the day. But she worked with Sir Oliver Lodge, Arthur Conan Doyle, and Ernest Oughton. She was actually trained by him. And then she traveled the world and did mediumship demonstrations and physical, and she was able to bring ectoplasm through, which formed into physical beings. And they called her Battling Bertha because she actually stood up for Helen Duncan, who was a very good friend of hers, and she was arrested and put in prison for daring to practice her mediumship in not in some remote dictatorship, but in her homeland of Great Britain. So she used to go up to Parliament and do all sorts of things. So if you want to read a book about an interesting lady who fought, you know, really hard for the spirit world, Battling Bertha. The biography of Bertha Harris. It's not a very long book, but brilliant. One of the other books that I wanted to, so sometimes my dreams, I'm going to talk about my book in a minute. Sometimes my dreams are not always pleasant, and that was the case before Mum died. Now, I have been taught that a dream that is not good, you have to look at the opposite, and I've done that a lot of times, and that actually makes much more sense to me. So try doing that, Lisa. And again, you know, it's Spirit's way of, they've got different ways of working with us, so just try and turn it around a little bit. Yeah, Vanessa, you dream of your dad all the time. That's beautiful. And Neil, Raf Robson, Cami Golden. Oh, names for healing. Yes, absolutely. I will put them in most definitely. Sarah says her mum's death is being investigated by police. I'm worried something bad happened to her. Um, I don't get that, Sarah. I'm not quite sure why, but I don't get that. I think you'll be surprised by the outcome of that. Yeah, Natty, the book is, I said Battling Bertha. Um, Tom Harrison, Mother Val isn't it. I don't know what that Tom Harris, that Tom Harrison mother. I'm not quite sure what that means, Neil. Sorry. You got the book name now, Natty. Great. Okay. And this is a book I wanted to talk to you about, but also the book about, so this is an author called Mary Summer Rain. Now, she's a Native American Indian. And the first book that she wrote and that I read was called No Eyes. And it was the story of a Native American lady, American shaman, who was born blind. And she actually lived on her own in a cabin in the wilderness. And then she actually taught Mary Summer Rain everything that she knew about shamanism. So the first book was No Eyes, and then the next book was The Dream Walker. Where she talks about, again, no eyes, and how she was led by spirit, and there's lots of things. But Mary Summer Rain, the books are fantastic, they really are. um, and then lastly, I was listening to this as an audiobook in the car today. I've read this lady's books before, Julia Baird. She wrote Phosphorescence, and there was another one that she wrote that I've read. And I've really enjoyed her books. But this one is Bright Shining, How Grace Changes Everything. And she talks about how we look at things. And this sort of fits in with what I was saying about don't allow negative people in your life and look at things in a different way. But the chapter that I got to today, chapter 4, it's called Icarus Flew. Now, if anybody knows your history, mythology, Icarus was somebody that wanted to learn to fly. He tried all sorts of things and he failed. But what she says is that what people didn't realize, and they don't say, is Icarus actually did fly. He didn't succeed, but he did fly. And that's what happens sometimes with us. We do achieve things, but we don't achieve it the way people want us to. And then that brought me to something else that I wrote down. People distort. Let me just talk about that quickly. People distort things. She was talking about her ex-partner that had died, and she said so many people reported about him, and I think he was a reporter as well, and they all reported something different, but they all knew him as something different. And she said when she read some of the reports, what she was reading was totally different to the person that she knew. And that is an interesting one, because again, coming back to people in your life that you don't want. And she was disappointed by what people. Yes, he flew too close to the sun. Thank you, Neil. Ian. So okay, I've got to go back and find. Okay. Anyway, I've lost the thread because it was on some other notes that I had and I can't find. But what she's saying is that other people's perception of what is going on with you is completely different to how you saw it. Because other people, I say this all the time, anybody that knows me actually doesn't know me, because unless you walk in my shoes 1,000 miles, you don't know anything about me. And we need to remember that, because there are so many people who are quick to judge, quick to pass comment about something that we've done, or they know more about our lives than they actually do. And then they think they've got the right to get involved. And I think that is really, really unfair, because then things get distorted and blown out of proportion. And then I personally have just walked away from a situation, because I think I don't need this. I don't need people to be like this in my life. So that's going back to what I was saying earlier on. We do not need negativity or negative people in our life. Oh, sorry, spirit is so close to me. Always make my nose itch when they're that close. But we don't need that negativity. I'm going to repeat that again. I know I've said it several times, but if we keep that negativity in our lives, all we're doing is hurting ourselves. And I don't want you to do that. I don't want to do it to myself anymore. So I've had enough. And that, as far as I'm concerned, is it. Yes, enough's enough. I don't want to judge people. I don't want to be judged, because you don't know anything about me. That quote is so true. But judging and walking in that individual, yes, yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you agree with that, Neil. And Gail, it's one of your frequent sayings as well. They think they know about you, but they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue. And when you ask somebody to do something for you, and you trust that they will do that, and they don't, then yeah, okay, walk away. Just walk away. So, Ty, you miss me. Oh, I miss you too. Yeah, and you had a relative, Robert, that did that to you and have completely shut her off. Absolutely. Because then what you do is the beautiful energy that you've then got in your life and your physical world, you can put into something positive that is going to be better for you and better for others around you. But that negativity, you push it to one side and think, I don't need that. And like the lady that said to me the other day, or yesterday, you gave me permission to walk away from my family. That was magical, because the tears were in her eyes and she could hardly say the words. But you've given me permission to walk away from my family. As I said, we think because they're family, we have to stay there. We have to put up with it. We have to listen. We have to, yeah. No, you don't. Okay. Be the best person that you can. Be the best version of yourself that you can. Love yourself. Before you go loving anybody else, love yourself, because that is the most important. If you don't love yourself, how can you expect to be loved and love other people? So I'm going to stop there. I've gone slightly over, but I didn't expect today to go as it has done, and it's been brilliant. I love the flow of everything, but all I can say is, again, thank you to Lake Macquarie people for a great afternoon of readings, and open mouth faces, which was really good. And then the Spiritualist Church in the Central Coast. Cheryl, your ship is run so smoothly and so tightly, but with so much fun and laughter, and love and respect for every person that walks through your door. So Cheryl, Kathy, Nancy, Karen, Margaret, and if I've missed anybody, I'm really sorry, but you guys are absolutely the best. So keep doing an incredible job. Congratulations on your year anniversary on the 24th. And I'll see you again on the 1st of September. And I'm really looking forward to that. I have got another church that I love working at is the Springwood Church up in the Blue Mountains, and I'm there on Sunday night. That's come around very, very quickly. Really looking forward to that. And of course, I'm going down to Melbourne, which is selling out. So if you're interested in anything that I'm doing, which is the readings are all sold out. The workshop we've got 3 places for, and the show we're almost over half full. So and we're really limited on numbers, but we are selling, it's going really quickly. So any of those that you're interested in, have a look at my Facebook or my website. And I will say hi to Bella, Ian, because I'm going to see her. And then I'm going to Bathurst and Canowindra, at the Edge in Federation Square. I will be at the not Mind Body Spirit. It's the Boho Lux Market, which is a beautiful event full of really luxurious stalls, and it's just going to be really gorgeous. And then the retreat in the on the Mornington Peninsula, which I'm looking forward to. All of that information's on the website. And then, last but not least, I'm coming to the UK in May, and we're selling out. I'm so excited about that because one of the venues we've just sold out at, and they've actually given us another date, and they're already selling tickets for that. So whoop-de-doo, we're very, very excited. I'm looking forward so much to working with Jenny, as always, because she's so funny. Anyway, I'm stopping, I promise. But look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much for joining me. I promise you all of the names you've given me will go in the healing book, and those names will be thought of through the week. Yeah, that would be really good, Robert. And Leanne, you're very welcome. Lisa, good. Let me know, Lisa, if you get the films for your camera, because somebody was asking me about that the other day. Thank you, Rob. Much appreciated. And who else is there? Yeah, Melanie. Really good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you all again very soon. I think I'm going to have a well-deserved glass of wine and go to bed early. Okay, but take care. Lots of love to you all. Remember, love yourself first and foremost. Be kind to yourself, and then do the best that you can for you first, and then others after. And don't put up with any rubbish from people, because they're not worth it. Lots of love. Bye. Hello, Ian.